Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to discuss religious rights in America. Okay. Now, I have posted this in over a half a dozen groups outside of my own order. I've gotten a lot of good feedback. I've gotten a lot of thank yous for posting this. I've even got one person that asked to share the photos, to which I've given my permission to do. Okay. And I've had one individual ask me a specific question, which I will get into in a little bit. Now, before I do, a lot of people really don't know their personal rights when it comes to religious views, not only from a federal point of view, a state point of view, and a borough point of view. So I'm going to lay everything right out of everything that I've put together through the laws, through the amendments, such as the First Amendment, um, where you can go, what you can do, such, all of that stuff. Okay. Now, I spent a good 3 to 4 hours on this last night, um, namely because of the fact that it was really eating at me, and it was like something telling me and pushing me to put this work forward. So I did, and I'm glad I did because I got a lot of good feedback. Okay, and a lot of people actually enjoyed it, and like I said, really thanked me for it. So here it is. I'm going to read a page and a half to you. Okay, a page and a half. I broke it down to a page and a half with the laws, the acts, the whole kit and caboodle for you. The First Amendment states that a religious order is based and recognized by the following. Number one, religious foundation. Number two, documents. And number three, followers. What this means is that if you have a physical foundation, such as a church, an order, or a coven, this is considered to be a religious foundation. If you have a Bible, such as the Satanic Bible, if you have the Witch's Bible, if you have a grimoire for a coven based setting, this is considered a religious document. Okay. And number three, followers. If you have people that are in your circle, that attend your meetings, such as coven meetings, such as the Sabbaths, such as gatherings, okay, people who follow you in the real world, but in reality. But most importantly, if you have a website and people follow you there, this is considered a religious based philosophy. It's recognized as an established religious practice and recognized underneath the First Amendment as a religion. Okay? Now, underneath religious land use and personalized religious acts, okay? If you go down to, you can read down through all of it and get the gist of it. If you want to sit there for about 5, 6 hours and do it like I did, when I first was given this, directed towards this one act, this one penal code. And by the time it was said and done, by the time I got to the equal act or equal terms, it was broken down into A, B, C, and D. Okay, which basically means that no individual, no assembly, no church, foundation, or organization has the right to limit or deny another's religious belief structure. Okay, very fascinating point there. But however, keep in mind there's also something that is considered to be a downfall, okay, in this. Now, it's not, personally, if you take the time to actually read down through the Ramses Act, you'll realize that it's not necessarily a bad thing, but more of a personal well-being. It type act, okay? Not only does it protect you, but it also protects the business that you work for. All right. For an example, if you work for FedEx Ground, okay, obviously because of the conveyor belt, you cannot wear jewelry. You cannot wear loose clothing. Okay. You cannot wear rings. Okay. Because it will get caught in the conveyor belt and it can end in fatality or injury of some sort. Okay. So therefore, the company is protecting you in this case. Okay. This right protects the company and allows them the right to limit what you can wear on your person within their company. Okay. It's like working for a fast food um, restaurant, like say McDonald's or Burger King. If you're working in the kitchen around, say, heavy machinery, such as the deep fat fryer or something that automatically lowers fries down into the batter. If your rings get caught on it, if your necklace gets caught on it, it is the exact same thing. It would end in injury or a fatality. Okay? Therefore, again, these companies are protected by the Ramsey Law. Okay? Now, not all companies utilize this law. So, as a question that was put forth to me in one of the Facebook groups that I posted this in, is what would allow them to deny you. Okay. Like say, is it okay for me to wear this, my pentagram at my place of business? And I told the individual, go to your HR department, ask for their clothing or attire and jewelry type references on what they consider to be their policy and mandates upon your dress code. Okay. Now, when I worked for Tractor Supply, I could wear these things. Okay. Hands down. I only had one person, which was a customer, that took offense to it because they were Christian. Okay. My ASM at the time, which was assistant store manager, came to me right in the middle of tearing down feed. Okay. Right in front of full view of every employee, and told me if I did not remove them, then I was fired. So I did my homework and I went to HR and I inquired and I brought this to their attention. The woman that I talked to from HR told me to send the photos of my rings, which was the accused individual that took offense to these. Okay. I went to them, I sent it to them, to this individual. And she came back to me saying, there is nothing wrong with those. There's nothing offensive about them. Okay. And word got passed down to my store manager. Okay. Who basically told me flat out that I can wear these things anytime I want. But if there's another report, if somebody else takes offense to it, then we would have to revisit. Okay. So right there, that was a form of religious discrimination. Okay. This is why it's good to know your personal rights and that of the Ramsey Law. Okay. It protects you and the corporation that you work for. Now, to go on further, there are three aspects of religions that a lot of people do not know. Number one, freedom of religion. This act literally allows you to go to the Department of Justice and the American Civil Liberties Union if your rights are being violated. Okay, this allows you to go someplace and file an official report outside of the company. Okay, you can go to the company, go to customer solutions, Go to your HR department and file official complaints. Now, because I actually went to my district manager, who basically screwed me over the last time, I actually went to customer solutions, filed an official complaint there, and with HR, which meant it went to the regional manager. Okay, this was my district manager's boss. Okay, so now it's higher up in the food chain, and this individual hates me now because I went above her head. Okay, so when my former ASM, the one who came to me the way he did, we ended up being friends. Okay, awesome, loved it. It's amazing how that works out. Not only did I do things the correct way, I followed the chain of command, but I also did my homework and I brought it to people's attention. Okay, because under the labor laws, there in your break rooms, there is a list of your personal rights, be it if you are a minor, be it if you are an adult, religious, whatever. It is there on the wall. It is mandated to be up on that wall for all employees to view, and one of which is no retaliation. Okay? No retaliation law. Now, this individual, the district manager, literally retaliated. I had a store manager, a receiver, a team lead, all pulling for me to come back to Tractor Supply. The only one that was standing in the way was the district manager, which violates that mandate. Not only is it religious, but it is a violation of, guess what? The no retaliation clause. Okay? So really take that into consideration as well. Now, the second is the state law. The state laws are mandated to uphold the federal laws within the state. Okay? This basically means that they have to view everything from the corporation's rights to your personal rights and break it down into a fair and undeniable method. So the more proof you have that there is a violation, the better. Okay? And then you have what is known as, in number 3 as the borough laws. The borough laws are for each district. Each district has a right to determine what is considered to be a religious protection. Okay, right. Okay. For an example, if you go to, say, LA, Los Angeles, everything's cool. You can be a Satanist, you can out in the open, you can be a pagan, a Wiccan, a goth, whatever. Even if you go to New York City, you're going to see the exact same thing where individuals do role playing. They dress up as vampires. Father Sebastian, the vampire sanguine. Boom. He's the godfather of the vampiric goth style life or lifestyle in New York City. Okay? Hell of a guy. Loved his work. Okay? Now, again, each district has a right to determine for themselves what they deem to be protection under these laws. Okay? Which is why it's good to know the higher ups, such as these. Okay? Now, we can also go into what is known as the Civil Rights Acts. Okay? Number 1, the title, VII, of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prevents any religious discrimination whatsoever by employers. This means that they cannot determine or they cannot terminate you. They cannot discriminate against you in any way. Okay? One of the reasons Sears went out of business is because they were known for discrimination of sexes. Okay? If you're a man and you're custodial there, they will discriminate against you. If you are a Satanist or something other than Christian, they will discriminate against you. That is one of the reasons why they went out of business. But most importantly, they were overpriced. And they just bit off more than they could chew. Now, It doesn't matter if you are gay or lesbian, transgender, or whatever. If this is if you are religious and this is going on and you are being targeted, then this act will protect you. Okay. The second is the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Okay, which is also commonly known as the RFRA and pronounced as RFRA. Okay. This act was passed back in 1993 and was designed for a stronger protection, religious protection right. Okay, basically reinforcing the laws in your favor. Okay, it is strictly scrutinized. So, like I said, again, you need all the evidence you can get if you are filing a claim of religious discrimination of any kind, either based off gender, religion, whatever. It protects you. Okay. But then you've got the what is known as the Establishment Clause. Okay, this is broken down from the Bill of Rights of 1689, the Articles of Configuration of 1789, and what is called the Blue Laws. Okay, these are considered to be the earliest known First Amendment rights and freedom of religious acts. Okay, so really take that into consideration. All right. Now, one of the other um, questions that was brought up to me in one of the groups that I posted this in was, are these laws just in the United States or are they in the world as well? We know that there are laws that allows personalized religious acts in Africa, okay, such as Ethiopia, Malawi, Congo region. But we also know that there are denominations of religious factions that are waging war, such as Christian, such as Islamic. But we also know, especially within Malawi, that there are, well, I should say there is a task force set up to investigate occult crimes. Now, in the old days, the ancient world, the ancient civilization, each tribe was designed specifically where the elder of that tribe wouldn't do anything without first consulting a shaman, a healer, a medicine man, a witch, a warlock, whatever. Okay? They would not do anything before consulting. For an example, it goes by the law of the land. In one tribe, both white magic and black magic were considered legal, whereas in another, it was considered illegal. Okay? We know that in Malawi, white magic is legal. Okay? So a Bokor really has no ground to be out in the open without getting stoned to death if they were caught and captured. Okay? We know that England is more lenient when it comes to witchcraft or religious laws. Okay? Now, personally, I don't know if they actually have laws that protect witches or any form of paganism, witchcraft, shamanism whatsoever. What we do know is that they have a lot of pagans and Wiccans there that uphold a lot of ceremonies. They have their own stores, much like they do down in Mexico. Okay, I believe they call them witchcraft stores or occult shops. We know that witches and warlocks, sorcerers alike, are in Germany. Look at Frank White for an example. He's well known from the Grail of the Serpent on YouTube and on Facebook. He has a page, but we also know that he has referenced others. He's a Luciferian Satanist. Okay, he's a Luciferian witch, warlock, sorcerer. Okay, whatever title he wished to put on himself. But we also know that in Spain, if you're not Catholic, if you're not Christian, then it's prohibited and you have to go into underground to even practice this stuff. We know that in Italy, that in the ancient world, pagans and Wiccans and Christian, the ancient culture of the Roman public, such as the Vatican, harmonized completely within their tribes, their pre-Roman tribes, before the Vatican took over. We know in Sicily and other areas throughout Italy, there is known as the strega, otherwise known as the Italian witch or witchcraft. We know in certain island chains, such as Ireland, Greenland. Greenland, for an example, it's all good to be whatever you want to be, say a Satanist, a witch, shaman, necromancer, as long as you don't want it. Basically, another way of saying stay under the radar. But does Europe actually have witchcraft laws? Things that will protect the individual practitioner? Well, let's look back at the 16th century, 17th century. Okay, we know that between the 16th century to the early 19th century, there was a Witchcraft Act throughout Europe and the United States. This came to a conclusion in 1937, when Churchill told the United States that if they didn't let a certain woman go because she caught them with the pants down, literally, because they were keeping under wraps that a ship had been sunk by the Bismarck, and she was on trial for witchcraft. That if they didn't let her go, that basically they would sever all ties with the U.S. They chose to let her go, and in 1937, the Witchcraft Act was disbanded. Now, again, does this mean that there are religious laws in Europe? To be frank, knowing what I just said, I would have to say yes, of some variety, no matter how little. But to actually know for a fact, I'd have to do research on this, because at this point, I don't even know. Okay, I only know it from the United States perception. Okay, I know for a fact that down in Mexico, witchcraft is prohibited by the church, but yet there are black market sellers of witchcraft where rituals are performed. We've seen the biographies where shamans and Catholic priests go out and violate the privacy of a black magician, or what they refer to as black magic sites, where spells have been cast for any sort of reason. Okay? This stuff we already know because it's all over social media. But does Europe have witchcraft laws? Specifically that for protection for the practitioner? Very good question. Very, very good question. So I'm going to be doing some research on this, and I will share my findings with you at a later date once I've concluded my research. All right. Now, if you live over in Europe and you're able to get your hands on your own laws, do so and share them. Okay. With that said, have a good day, good night, and until next time, this dark magician, this black magician is out. All right. Have a good one.